right, Hotbox Podcast in the house. Walking up to, oh, look at these people. These people are mad. Feds raided a bunch of dispensaries yesterday. Look at this. Are you guys all mad because the feds raided dispensaries? Yeah! That's unacceptable! Unacceptable! Say hi to the internet and everybody. Yeah! Hi Tara.
Hey Matt.
What's everyone doing?
Rallying around, getting the support. We want to keep the feds out of Montana.
Absolutely. Because state law says what?
State law says we're supposed to be protected.
Absolutely. And what happened?
We were not protected.
We were absolutely not protected. We were a little pinhole in the tip of the condom, not protected whatsoever.
The federal government came in and is against states' rights. The state voted for this, it's been done illegally, and they can't just come in here like that and take our rights away, and we're not going to say anything. It's ridiculous.
Hi. My name is Matt. We run a podcast here called The Hotbox. And they're showing their support for these legitimate businesses that when a legitimate business in Montana does something wrong, they don't get raided and treated like it was a meth lab. They get investigated and audited and come in and they say, here's what our problem is. Let's take care of it. You know, these places got raided and treated like they were meth labs, and that's no good. Because there's tons of that stuff out here that they could be focusing on.
We're connected to illegal distribution. Yeah. Are you concerned that they may in the future?
Well, we're concerned that there's no real protection anymore. What's to say that tomorrow, in the papers you read a lot that they were trying to scare people. They're trying to say, we're the federal government still, we can do what we want, and there's nothing that your state can do about it. And we pass these laws so that we have these protections. And we abide by them, the majority of us. But like I said, there's doctors that are selling OxyContin prescriptions all day long. And they don't get near the attention that this gets. I get it, it's marijuana. It's the, oh my God, this devil plant is actually helping people. Like, yeah, it is. And I mean, the whole schedule thing, that's what the feds were asked. They said, what was the problem? They said, marijuana is Schedule 1. That's illegal. Well, the federal government is giving it to poor patients. So we know that it shouldn't be scheduled. So I'm sure that's something that needs to be fixed first. But they can't say that and then do something completely opposite.
The way that they're raiding the dispensaries, so that they may just start going after everyone.
Well, all of it. I mean, if they're going to go after everyone, they're going to do it in that manner. And some of these people have kids, some of these people have 80-year-old grandparents in there. Someone's going to have a heart attack if that happens, and that's no good. And that's, you know, that's their business. A lot of these people went out on a limb to try and do this as a business. A lot of these people are unemployed before this, and you know, it's really helped. But if they're going to keep treating it like it's an illegal activity, regardless of what those individuals were doing within, you know, the scope of that state's law, then, you know, everyone's going to continue being scared and living in their shit. They don't want it. It has to be out in the open.
Okay, one more question for you. Considering the nature of the offense that some people were connected to here, do you think it was appropriate the way feds kind of busted in?
I'd like to see a lot more transparency in what's going on. I don't like when someone's like, so, you know, what happened? They're like, nothing, don't worry about it. Like, well, I'm worried about it because we paid you to do this, so what are you doing? And, you know, everything being sealed. I'd like to see just, I mean, a lot more transparency in government, but that's a whole other story.
What's going on, whether you agree with
Yeah, you have to. I mean, if especially in the age of the internet, like what's happening in Egypt and Libya, the governments can't do shady backhanded stuff anymore because people are going to find out about it. And one of these days, the people are going to get to the point where they're like, you know what, we're done with this. We're not going to let you guys do that and pay you to do it. That's ludicrous. It's not going to go on that anymore. I think the internet's been a huge push of that because everything's out there. You know, they can't stop that. You try and take down one site and there's 5 more. Right here in the upstairs of the First Interstate Bank. That's where the feds are. It's their home base here in beautiful Kalispell, Montana. I don't see anybody poking their heads out of the windows. Not yet. They're probably all inside writing down our license plate numbers and using their facial recognition on us. But that's where it happens. That's the place. We got the big monkey supporting medical marijuana. Hell yeah. Alright, on the spot, Ian, Big Sky Health. What the hell is going on?
Looks like everybody's standing out here to fight for their rights, or at least bring some attention to some things that maybe not everybody knows about yet. But I think some of these individuals are pretty offended by the way that we've been treated.
Yeah.
Especially at such a controversial turning point.
Right.
In our state legislature and for the laws that we're standing up for.
The day the 6-6 vote goes down,
Absolutely.
raids across Montana. How's your shop doing? You guys okay?
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. No troubles at all. We've had a lot of an insane amount of phone calls from people asking questions whether we're still there. I've had other caregivers calling and asking what's going on, and it's really just a lack of information and a lack of knowing what's going on or the orientation of events that are
Why do you think that
here.
is? Usually when stuff like this happens, we have the internet and all the information is just right there. Was stuff
What is released through media and things and what's being told, that's probably not the real case.
Was it a lack of attention paid to the story, or was it that the information was kept under lock and key?
Well, the warrants were sealed for a few days at least.
Right.
I don't think that they wanted to let out too much information at first. The federal government's going to need some time to build cases against the people that they raided. That's why there weren't any arrests made. They're going to get all the evidence that they have, compile that, and then build a case against the individuals.
So do we have formal charges yet?
No.
Nothing?
No.
What's the word in the wind? I've heard money laundering, I've heard state
drug trafficking,
cross-state sales.
selling marijuana to individuals that include dispensaries that sell medication to people that aren't their patients.
Right.
Cross-state line trafficking, caregiver-to-caregiver transactions, all those kinds
And I
of
definitely
things.
believe as a dispensary owner, as a caregiver, at this point in time, you need to be super hyper aware of this, that anything you do will reflect on the industry. And I know it's a selfish thing, but until this gets completely open,
Absolutely.
that's how it has
something
to be.
that we should be cognizant of anyway.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of people are
Operating
angry.
within the law.
A lot of people are angry about is that it's making them look bad and everyone else look bad, when it's like, well, just, you know, a lot of people got caught up in this that had nothing to do with it at all. And I understand that's all part of building the case, but
It's always 10% that ruin it for the rest
Exactly,
of us. It's always
exactly.
those individuals. So
what do you think of some of these picket signs? We just want all the
we need
feds out of
more.
Montana?
More. No, we need more signs. That's
We
what
definitely need more.
That's what I think.
Well, that's cool. So no one, as long as you're all on the up and up, you shouldn't have a problem?
Not at all.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Ian, Big Sky Health. Matt, Hotbox. Yeah. Big monkey. Look at that. Look at that. I smell some marijuana. It's the monkey smoking. Matt, Sandy, hotboxpodcast.com. Where are we going?
We are on our way to Missoula for the rally. It's gonna start at noon at the park, and
For
we're gonna
medical cannabis?
Yes.
Yes.
And we're gonna walk down to the courthouse, which I believe is like a 7-block walk, and then
Are we going to actually be walking the walk?
we're walking the walk.
Will we be also talking the talk?
Yes.
So what happened? What are we doing?
So the raids all happened on the 14th.
Right, medical dispensaries were raided because there were allegations of
money laundering and drug trafficking.
Right.
But
cross-state drug trafficking.
well, the cross-state thing is still up in the air because
right.
I mean,
there's no charges, no arrests.
Well, and one of the things actually accidentally got unsealed, and I got a copy of it and was able to read over it.
Oops. Was that the fake one that they leaked? Because I also read about a leak warrant that was completely fake also.
Oh, well, I don't know about
what did
that.
It say?
But well, it said that they were investigated for this amount of time. They had people that they hired from Missouri to come over and make hash, but they did it here.
Right, and the hash is illegal because it's so strong and potent.
Yeah, it's well,
I'm so high on hash right now. Hold on, check this out. Driving, high on hash. What are we doing? Are we impaired? Are we cracked? Why is my phone
Hey, look at that. A call in and we weren't even live. Sweet.
Alright, so where were we?
Okay, so they raided the dispensaries and everything. And so far the only thing that I have found that they're saying was done wrong was caregiver to caregiver, but that's still up in the air as to whether or not that's illegal.
That's a gray area.
Right, so we're not sure.
Excuse me. Okay.
So yeah, but I mean, it's still up in the air what the raids were even about, or if anybody even did anything wrong.
And everything, like you said, has been sealed, and it's all on the hush.
Which is that even legal to seal a warrant and search someone without telling them what you're searching for?
If your state doesn't give a shit, right?
Well, and see, that's the thing is we can't let our state make it seem like we don't give a shit.
Right, and that's why we're doing this. We're going, hopefully, Missoula, much bigger than Kalispell, as you guys all know.
Oh yeah.
I have some footage of the Kalispell vigil, and yeah, we'll get that all up at hotboxpodcast.com/YouTube. YouTube.
Yes.
So we'll see you guys in Missoula.
Yes.
hotboxpodcast.com. We'll see. Not another drug war. Every American. Look at that. Look at that.
I can't take any more discrimination. I just can't take it. PTSD, and then I gotta use paper for that. Exactly. I can't take it anymore. Pressure.
That sums it up. I don't need my rights child-proofed. Oh, and the dog. Oh yeah. Whoa. You're limping, doggy. It's like a human centipede. That's awesome. Did you see the sign that said I don't need my rights child-proofed? That was so perfect. Oh, my camera's getting so wet.
Oh, right there, that one.
Huh?
Yes.
That one! That's so awesome. Oh man. Hell yeah.
DEA, go away! 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 DEA, go away!
Marijuana saved my life.
It saved my life.
That's right. Saved all our lives. And fear does create tyranny. And we're so sick of that.
You don't take my medication away.
Absolutely. Everyone that lives in Missoula is so happy. I'm gonna move to Missoula where I'll be happy. Kalispell, the people in the business store windows weren't happy and waving at us.
Is that right?
Yeah, they were kind of looking in awe, like, what are they doing, those evil criminals? Especially that one in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Taking my money. These people are so silly. So silly. So silly. Another drug war? How many drug wars have we had now?
Too many.
And how many of them have been successful?
None.
None. Disgusting
This is not a drug
facts.
war. It's an attack on civil liberties.
That's true. If they want us to be businesses, do they rate us like meth labs if they think something's wrong?
Well, we already pay them taxes.
Right?
Pay them a fee.
We paid them to do that, it seems like.
Yeah, these patients that got robbed, I mean, that's what happened. They should file a class action suit.
Is that what it
Stole
was,
their
basically?
medication.
Just...
Oh yeah, they took everybody's medication. I mean, come on, we already paid for it.
Yep. Despicable acts. Look at this dude ghost riding that whip. Yeah.
Some of them were able to use cannabis freely, some of them were not, some of them had to do it in the closet. Some of them actually, yeah, some earlier people in the closet were great balls. There's one gentleman who had Lasix syndrome and he wasn't able to freely use cannabis. It was really, really sad. We tried really hard to fight for him so that he could eat, so that he could sleep. And cannabis worked for him.
Postal sticker is on a life poster.
All the people, if you know somebody that cannabis helps, if you yourself is helped, if you have any good thoughts, put them up there, because we know there's a lot of global issues right now bigger than medical cannabis that need a lot of positive vibrations, and all across the board we need to kind of send that out.
Section 3, which is the inalienable right to pursue health through all lawful means.
Nice. Okay. Yep. I'll do it.
I mean, that's really what the MMA is it's a health act. So, well, that'll be interesting.
Yep.
You got a letter already?
Mostly ready. It's a letter I've written before.
Okay.
So I just, invoke the right law and the right phrases of the Constitution and say, gimme. And if they say no, then I come to you and say, hey, let's sue.
Yeah.
Let's sue 22 local agencies.
Let's do it.
Because I did that back in 2000 with the marijuana killing fungus they were developing at MSU,
Okay.
and sent them a right to know request, and they said, no, this is proprietary. And my roommate and attorney told me, no, you don't have proprietary data funded by taxpayers. So they got to give it, and so we sued. We got our attorney's fees for it, and we got a big stack of documents in the international news about a marijuana-killing fungus developed in laboratories in Missoula Montana, designed for aerial deployment in South America. They had a whole marketing shtick. They had like this B-52 bomber, and how they were going to spray this fungus over jungles. Charming.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but it's been 10 years, so it's probably time to ask them. They're still doing
question.
it. Yeah. Whatever became of that? Thanks for the docs back in 2000, but what else you got?
Montanans for Responsible Legislation. Sandy, hotboxpodcast.com. You were with the Megahorn on the rally.
Indeed I was.
Excellent. What happened? Raids? Seriously?
This is our response to the recent federal raids that have occurred in the cannabis community here in Montana. We view this as an attempt of the federal government to influence Montana politics inappropriately and a direct attack on the cannabis community. Quite frankly, we're tired of efforts to criminalize illness. We're tired of the bigotry, and we're tired of guns-drawn raids on farmers in Montana. We voted resoundingly, the voice of the people, to support compassionate access, and the federal government is flying in the face of fact, of reason, of popular will, of democratic votes.
And also with the timing of the raids, it's very obvious that they're trying to play an extra card to influence what happens here in Montana, cause more people to feel unsafe.
It's questionable. The timing of the raids is very questionable, coinciding directly with repeal hearings in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Sure, a lot of us are speculating that there is maybe some attempts to influence Montana politics, and that's the apex of unethical behavior. It's incredibly inappropriate.
Now, do you also feel, because I've heard a lot of people speaking out that Montana's not taking the stand that this isn't okay like other states have taken after raids. Do you agree that Montana's being very quiet right now with their response to the raids?
You know, it takes a little time to put together a cohesive response, and I think today was the first step. These people are all very brave, and they've stood up in the face of federal oppression. They said, we're not going to be intimidated by terrorism, that this community has had enough, and we're done with it. So I think you're going to see more of a public response, and I would expect to see some response from a few of our lawmakers as well.
That's good, especially we went to the one in Kalispell, and a lot of what I heard in the crowd was people were scared. Even if they weren't directly involved in owning a dispensary or running it, their business supported it in some way. They didn't want that out there attached to the stigma of, you know, this evil thing. And out here, like, this was an amazing turnout. When we drove by it and we were like, wow, that's how it's done. And then you could hear them down like 2 blocks away, and people are really vocal here, and that's really refreshing to see compared to our small town like Kalispell, you know, the whole valley there even.
Right. There's pockets of prohibition that exist
Right.
around Montana, the Whitefish Kalispell area,
Yeah.
Blood, Great Falls, Billings. And people are definitely frightened. We've hosted, I think, 3 rallies in Great Falls with nothing like this turnout.
Right.
You get a lot of support from people honking their horns and waving.
Yeah,
They're scared
when it comes down to actually being out there and putting your face to it.
You know, and I'd like to take this opportunity to tell the community it's going to take all of us coming out of the shadows.
Right.
We all have to stand up, and we all have to unite and say enough is enough. And until we do that, we're going to still be subject to these federal raids. We're going to be subject to heavy-handed enforcement and scare tactics on behalf of local police.
And this started back in like 01 and 02 with Mickey Norris and the whole cannabis consumers come out of the closet campaign at the Hemp Fest, and we had so many people there that would stand on that box and get their picture taken and go up on the website. And it's still like it needs to happen more and more and more, and everyone involved in it, the electric companies that are seeing increase in profits because of all of this, you know, being able to be out in the open and not have to rig up your power converters.
Well,
and
I know in Kalispell, for example, almost every caregiver shut down for like 2 days. You know,
Right.
and patients were scared. It was every caregiver got a call asking for deliveries that day
Yep.
instead of coming out.
It
and
scared them.
I have a dispensary right next door to one of the places that got raided. So I saw firsthand
Yeah, we had the play-by-play
the
on
entire day. Matt got a call from me,
Yeah,
very
frantic
scared.
Sandy, like, there's people in black suits and unmarked cars
But
moving this dispensary. Yeah.
It's a giant ripple that went through the entire industry, not just affecting those raided, but everybody. And more people, even if they weren't directly affected, need to stand up and say that they don't want to potentially be affected, and they don't want the other people out there being affected anymore too.
This involves every good American, and in my mind, this isn't an issue solely of cannabis. This isn't an issue of marijuana at all. This is an issue of civil liberties, civil rights, and a blatant attack on democracy. And as we've said many times, it's going to take all of us standing up, refusing to bend to terrorism, refusing to be intimidated.
Yep.
We're on the cusp. Progress is being made, and it's time
Slowly.
to make the final push.
Slowly.
I think we're right on the edge of it here, which is one of the reasons for this crackdown. If we can not be intimidated by these scare tactics by the police, if we all come out of the shadows, if we all come out of the closets, if we stand united as one, cannabis prohibition will fall.
Yeah.
We're on the edge. It's about to happen.
And that's what they wanted. That's why they said, we don't want this back alley parking lot sales. We want you to have respectable businesses. And then that's what happens. And then they rate it like meth labs. Like, that's not what, you don't investigate businesses like that. Enron,
Legitimate business owners.
nobody like that got
They're scaring
raided.
people who want to try to have successful businesses also. I
Right.
mean, it's hard enough to get a bank account if you're running
Yep,
a
and
dispensary.
insurance
And so for them to make you think that they're going to come in and raid you for your money is really scary also.
It's incredibly frightening, and people are scared, and rightfully so. We're in the midst of a war, and really it comes down to personal choice. Are you going to choose to go back into the closet? Do you choose to go back in the shadows? Do you choose to be intimidated by federal terrorism?
And some people
Or do you
get used
stand
to
up and say
that.
enough is enough?
Some people get used to that comfort when they can call their buddy once a week and not have to, and that's,
These people stood up today and said enough is enough.
Yeah, and that was really good to see. Now, we went over an article in the paper that said basically, I think it was Chris Lindsay saying that the whole purpose of this was fear, to scare the people. Is that what you feel that the whole reason for the raids, or
Chris's impression.
was there legitimate criminal activity happening?
I couldn't comment on
Right.
nuts and bolts of the
No
rates.
one knows yet. Is that odd that it's so...
You know, in my mind, until you end federal prohibition, we're all criminals. We're all black market
Right, and we
dealers.
know that
We're
getting
all on the
into
wrong
it.
side of the law.
Right.
And so the infighting within the community, the mudslinging, the name calling, it has to stop. Because until we deal with the 600-pound gorilla in the room, which is federal prohibition,
Right.
we're all on the wrong side of the law.
Right.
Contrary to fact, contrary to reason, contrary to popular
Memos that are released,
votes.
it's not, yeah.
We're all in this stinking ship together. And
Yeah.
like it or not, that's the way it is. And it's going to take all of us coming together to get past this.
What do you think the first step is? Rescheduling or just completely
I'm a tax
dissolving
regulate
that?
guy. I honestly believe that the best interest of the patients is served by legalizing and regulating all adult cannabis consumption. That'll allow for the scientific research to be done to develop
Right.
effective cannabinoid therapeutics.
Exactly.
It'll stop cramming our prisons full of non-violent marijuana
Yeah,
smokers.
and that's a
It'll
huge drain on
alleviate
resources.
the tax burden on our states.
Yeah.
So I think the only thing that really protects patients and providers is the complete federal legalization of marijuana.
Right.
Now, we've been, yesterday, I know it's really been all over the Hague memo. Have you heard or read that at all?
Yeah, you know, when that came out in February, we did our best to warn people this was going on. Even when the Ogden memo came out, I vividly recall being in California in the late 90s when we had a similar situation. You had ethical, honest people stand up and say, hey, let's do this the right way, stuck their necks out there, and the feds threw everybody in prison. So I have good friends that are still serving, 20-year prison sentences for growing medical marijuana. That's inappropriate.
Yeah.
We were very concerned. We've been very concerned over the past few months that something like this would happen. So when the Hague memo came out, you try and communicate that to people. There's been this false sense of security. We've even had dispensary owners in Missoula say, well, those guys are breaking the law and we're not. We're going to be safe. And the Hague memo clearly says if you're growing medical marijuana, if you have a storefront operation, or if you're a landlord that rents to anybody with a storefront operation,
Really?
you're subject to criminal prosecution
And
and property forfeiture.
that's hard too, because we're already facing landlords that have huge reservations about renting, leasing, anything involved in the medical cannabis
You know, I'm not going to
industry.
piss on your leg and tell you it's raining. There's definitely a risk in being involved in this industry.
Yep.
There is. And it again comes down to personal choice. Do you choose to be intimidated and live a disingenuous life, or do you say that I've had enough?
Right. Well, that's what it's going to take.
Well,
Anything
thank
else?
you very much.
Thank you guys.
Cool, man.
Appreciate it. Good talking to you.
Yeah, definitely.